Thank you for joining us. I'm Yoon Jung-min. We start our coverage in the U.S. where the winner of the high-stakes presidential election is finally out. Without further ado, let's go straight to Washington, D.C., where VOA Correspondent Jessica Stone is standing by. Hi, Jessica. We are learning that former President Trump secured 277 electoral votes and won a second presidency. What's it like there?
The dawn is just coming. I believe the sun is just going to rise, and you can see a little bit of light blue behind the Capitol building there. So Americans who did not go to bed early last night may have a better idea what they're waking up to. But those that went to bed early would certainly be surprised potentially at the outcome, because going into the night, we expected a long count. We did not get that long count. It was actually a very quick count. That could potentially mean that there was a sweep, but it also is an indicator of all of the changed laws and procedures that came into place after 2020 and some of the election issues and drawn out processes there. It's also an indicator of more people voting in person on the day or early in person. So we do have 277 electoral votes now going to Donald Trump. Wisconsin, the latest state to go for Trump. That means he flipped the state. This is symbolic not just for its 10 electoral college votes, but really for the symbolism of Donald Trump winning a Midwestern so-called Rust Belt state. Many of these states in this part of the country, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, have been a part of the Industrial Revolution and a part of the deindustrialization of the United States. Many people losing their jobs to trade overseas, which has been a strong theme throughout his campaign. And so looking at that Wisconsin take back, really, as part of his own political comeback is a key factor. Of course, we did see Donald Trump relatively early in the night sew up North Carolina and Georgia, and then followed by Pennsylvania, at which time he declared himself the winner.
Right. And Jessica, Trump did deliver his speech a few hours ago. What about Harris?
She has so far remained silent. Relatively late in the evening, around 1:30 this morning, her campaign came out and said she would have a statement in the morning, but she would not be making a statement from Howard University at that time. She spent the evening, as we understand it from the campaign, at her residence in Washington, D.C., the vice presidential residence. And we do hope to hear from her later in the morning, particularly when there are more votes counted and all possible roads for her back to the White House are closed.
Right. And what was the gist of Trump's speech? Briefly.
You know, he took the position of gratitude right off the bat, thanking the American people, his campaign, his vice presidential running mate, and thanking them for trusting him again with the vote and with the presidency, and promising to restore the economy. He went back to that tagline that he had used in the waning days of the election. Kamala broke it, I will fix it. He promised to fix the fix the economy, and also to fix immigration. Two huge issues which pushed Americans to the polls. We know from exit polling that 31% of Americans who said that the economy was their main issue for voting in this U.S. election, 2/3 of them, or I should say 3/4 of them, voted for Trump. Likewise, there was an overwhelming number of people who also said that they are not better off financially now than they were 4 years ago. They wanted to go back to a candidate that was not currently in the White House, who could potentially change the economic picture in this country.
Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, we were expecting a very tight race, and some have forecast that it'll take a few days until we found out who won, but now the final outcome is already out.
Sorry, could you repeat that question?
Yes, so everybody, media have been forecasting that it'll take a few days to find out who won, but now the final outcome is already out.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a surprise. It certainly is to me. Going in, we were definitely expecting a longer vote count, particularly because Wisconsin and Pennsylvania didn't start counting their early votes until today. But as you look back through the data, what you realize, or at least what I think I've realized, is that there were far fewer votes, which we did know, far fewer early votes than there were 4 years ago. And we also knew that there had been some legal changes, some procedural changes to help speed up the count 4 years later. And perhaps that attributes to why we got it counted so quickly. We'll know in time what the exact details are, but those are a couple of my early thoughts about what changed this year compared to 4 years ago.
All right. Thank you, Jessica, very much for the updates.
Pleasure to be with you.